Carini, and I know my third guest is around the corner. Just want to give a little introduction. There is a new executive director at the Providence Foundation. Now, I want to give you a little recap about what the Providence Foundation has been up to since its inception in 1974. Supporting major initiatives that have transformed downtown, the River Relocation Project, the relocation of 195, the restoration of the downtown's historic core, the creation of the Capitol Center District, the formation of the Providence Downtown Improvement District, and the Downtown Providence Parks Conservancy, which is where Cliff Wood is coming from to head up the Providence Foundation. So, Cliff Wood, welcome in to talk with us about the new role.
Thank you, Kate.
I appreciate your coming in today.
It's my pleasure.
This is the studio. This is where the magic happens.
Fantastic.
This is our Mevo.
Hi.
Get to reach everyone, and I know the release just came out. The news was just announced, and it was funny as I was going through the boilerplate here at Providence Foundation. I was kind of like, oh, what made you want to be the director? But is it just sort of a natural progression having come from the Parks Conservancy?
It feels like to me a natural progression having come from most of the places I've been in the last 20 years. The idea of creating a space down here that attracts people and capital and investment makes Providence popular. So people want to be here to visit or to stay or to invest, to run a business, to make their homes. So the work that I've been doing in the Parks Conservancy, but the work I was able to do while working for Cornish Associates, implementing the Down City Plan, which was an initiative of the Providence Foundation, the Department of Arts, Culture, and Tourism, a lot of the cultural work that we did to bring people here. I was involved with advocacy around passing historic tax credits, as well as creating the Parks Conservancy. So I feel like this is a good chance, in addition to work I did when I was a member of the City Council, trying to improve public education, always toward doing things that bring people here, encourage them to stay, and create the conditions where they can stay.
And you're following the footsteps of Dan Bodwin.
Yeah.
What's the Dan Bodwin legacy?
Well, one thing about Dan is, so the foundation has been around since the early 70s, like you mentioned. And I think there have been 6, maybe 7 people in charge. So the first 6 of them all came in the first 20 years, and there's been 1 for the last 20. So we're joking about this replacement. It's important, for the foundation because it's always played a critical role. It's been a consistency throughout different administrations over time. But then when you add the layer of having Dan been there for 24 years, we were teasing that it's kind of like picking a new pope.
Did the white smoke go up?
Yeah, we made all the jokes. But it did, it does really add a certain level of expectation. Dan has been so committed to Providence, such a tireless advocate, and I'm really aware of that legacy, not just of the foundation, but the legacy of following really its most prominent leader until now.
And you guys are kind of working in tandem because the changeover is going to happen in July. Is
yes.
that the?
Yeah. So we have a transition month. We've started it yesterday, and we're going back and forth. Getting all the nuclear codes for the foundation.
the nuclear codes. What's the password to your Google account?
Exactly.
So you'll have everything moving forward. As we're here, June's wrapping up. We're halfway through 2017. What's on your plate for the second half of this year?
Well, first of all, we're going to do the things that make sense, always continue the legacy and the work. And one of the things about staying on and taking on this new role is that trajectory won't be broken. So we're all doing advocacy around getting that hub built. I was able to chair the statewide campaign to get the bond to build an intermodal hub. So the advocacy is still there, working with RIDOT and Ripton, the city. In the parks, it's summertime, so that's still happening. The beer gardens and the children's play. We're in the middle of construction of a $600,000 investment from Hasbro to build a unique children's playground in Burnside, so we're overseeing that. As well as internally, figuring out how to go ahead and keep what we're doing that makes all sense. We have a program of work. We're working hard on connecting our public spaces, working with the 195 Commission to create a parks network, not just Kennedy Plaza, but the idea, say if you go to Boston, you have the Emerald Necklace. In Providence, we want to create a network of our own, running from Kennedy Plaza to Water Place, the Riverwalk, the new bridge, and the new park built across on the west end. And being able to offer program those things as an amenity, not just as a cultural amenity, or something that supports real estate, but also to support the innovation district that's emerging. Bruce Katz from Working Institutions talked about these public spaces as being critical components of competitive cities with innovation districts. But everything we can do to respect the legacy, but tailor our work toward being competitive today, the way things are now.
So will this parks construct sort of have its own identity, if you will, so visitors and even residents can know more about it
Yes.
simply through the lens
Yes.
of the park connectivity?
Yes. Yes. So the idea, again, being there's the work that we do that is sort of inside baseball, that's critical, making deals, doing our advocacy, making sure that we're working with others to ensure security and infrastructure repairs and tax credits and all that kind of work. But the bigger stuff to the public is where they interface and they see why this work is important. They see why Providence is a place, again, that they want to embrace, to invest in, and to be in, and so that we can continue to thrive and be competitive and even dominant over the next 50 years.
And when's this Hasbro Park slated to be finished by?
Well, we're scheduled to have it done by the end of July, early August. They seem to be going really quickly, so it could be sooner, but we're right around that midsummer time frame.
Okay, we'll be keeping an eye on that because we're just going to go shoot right across the plaza there and it'll be over there. So 2017, broader picture, anything on Cliff Wood's plate that, as head of Providence Foundation, sort of big ideas, things that you might want to tackle even beyond what's currently on your agenda right now?
For me, what's always worked in Providence, getting big things done, is partnerships. So I was lucky enough to co-found Sound Session, which was a music festival here in Providence. I had resources in City Hall, and they could get me so far. Nonprofit partners had resources that get them so far, but we did it together. We were able to create something. My idea, again, looking at the legacy of the Providence Foundation and the legacy of our successes in Providence, it's building partnerships. So I'm looking to build more partnerships, bring new constituents into the downtown, so that we're able to build our base of people who support what we're doing, whether it be politically or through their actions, but then also be able to create a level of visibility that gets us to places where we can apply for funding and support and partnerships beyond just our local area. So put some of our projects on regional or even national radar.
And again, you mentioned the importance, but it must be so important in this day and age with funding. There's limited funds to go around. How important is that not to depend on government monies?
It's critical to be able to leverage. Again, we've always done that. You always have to have the government engaged a little bit, right? When you're looking for private funds and they ask you, well, how much is the government putting in? If the answer is none, then you have one set of answers. But if the answer is, if there's enough participation and then that can be leveraged, that's how we were able to get $400,000 from Champlin for infrastructure repairs because we were able to have the city participate at some level. The same with this Hasbro Playground because of the city's commitment in the space. But it goes for not just the park spaces. This is the foundation for the entire downtown. Finding private money is critical, but putting together the deals where there are pieces from everywhere is the way that we've always succeeded, and I'm looking to do that, but maybe even amplify the degree to which we do that.
And how important is it when you're doing these things, going for the grants, going for this, to show, the success of the projects that you've been working on? How much would you want to encourage folks? Providence Foundation is doing all these things. We're building the playground. We're doing the parks. People need to, come out, experience it, see it, and really so that it makes it all work. So then you can move forward to even, as you said, bigger things.
Bigger things. It's critical. It's also understanding where the culture is now. What do people want? I had occasion to speak to a head of a company. Just was bought by a larger company, moving downtown, bringing 300 jobs with them. And I asked, what do you want? These are all people in their 20s and 30s. These are the kind of companies that we want to encourage people to come here and put down stakes. And they spoke a lot about the importance of safe, clean spaces, programming for them, amenities. That's for the parks, but it's for all of the downtown. Again, it's always been the idea of creating an environment that attracts people and investment at every level.
And so you just touched upon, you anticipate, Providence here in 2017 is going to look very different in a couple of years with 195. So with those new constituencies, they've all got to come to the table and be part of that, determining what that picture looks like.
Exactly. When it comes down to it, when you have people who care about the space or the place, and they invest their time and energy and resources in it, you're more resilient, And so having many people seeing downtown as theirs, one of the things that has sort of, I think, beleaguered us in the past culturally is that somehow there's a binary notion of the neighborhoods and downtown is separate. But we know that a healthy downtown belongs to everybody. So bringing more people, whether or not they live here per se, but have them feel part of it, to use their public spaces, to use the shops, to use just to use the culture of downtown, have it be theirs. I want to bring more and more people down here.
So, we've known you in your role with the Downtown Providence Parks Conservancy, and as we had you and gave a nice overview of what you think's moving forward, anything we didn't hit upon that you might want folks to know about as you take the helm of the Providence Foundation?
Well, it's a very exciting time. We've made so much progress in the last 30 years. I'm looking forward to the progress that we can make in the next 30 years, and that will be contingent upon people's willingness and enthusiasm to embrace their city.
Well, fantastic, and we'll be obviously reporting news coming from the Providence Foundation with Cliffwood taking over for Dan Bodwin. And I know you're such a busy guy. I'm like, can we just get you for 15?
Oh,
just come down for 15.
Anytime.
Cliffwood, appreciate
Thanks
your
so
coming
much.
in
Thank
today.
you
I
for
look forward
having
to seeing more from the Providence Foundation.
Thanks so much.
I'll let you off to the race.